Our next story is from Hong Kong, where lawmakers have passed a new national security law, triggering growing concerns over how this could further erode civil liberties. What is the law all about? We tell you more in our next report.
On March 19th, Hong Kong passed its second national security bill, spelling concerns for the city-state. The legislation, known as Article 23, introduces 39 new national security crimes, which include treason, sabotage, sedition, the theft of state secrets, external interference, and espionage, with the most serious offences punishable by up to life imprisonment. The sentences range from several years to life imprisonment. The 90-seat council stacked with pro-China loyalists was first presented with the bill on March 8th, following an appeal by Hong Kong leader John Lee to push the law at full speed. 88 politicians and the council's president voted unanimously to enact the legislation. The new law will come into effect on Saturday. Hong Kong's new law comes 4 years after China passed an even more powerful national security law that was directly imposed by Beijing on Hong Kong in 2020. After huge pro-democracy protests the year before, since the law was passed, 290 people have been arrested for alleged national security offences. Among them, 174 persons and 5 companies were charged, including media tycoon and pro-democracy advocate Jimmy Lai. Critics worry the new law will further erode Hong Kong's civil liberties that Beijing promised to preserve for 50 years when the former British colony returned to Chinese rule in 1997. This includes giving Hong Kong self-governing power, election rights, its own currency, and a largely independent legal system. The passage of the new bill has irked many countries, including the United States, who are analyzing the potential risks to its citizens and American interests in the region.
We're alarmed by the sweeping and what we interpret as vaguely defined provisions laid out in their Article 23 legislation. They use phrases such as external interference, which is incredibly vague. So we're analyzing this legislation, and we are taking a look at what the potential risk could be to not just U.S. citizens, but other American interests that we might have.
British Foreign Secretary David Cameron said that the law will damage the rights and freedoms of Hong Kong people, provoking a sharp retort from the Chinese embassy in Britain, which said that Hong Kong affairs are purely China's internal affairs. The European Union and the United Nations said Hong Kong's new national security bill was deeply worrying and could erode fundamental freedoms in the China-ruled city.
I think passing the law marks a clear shift in Hong Kong. It's a pretty complete rejection of the sort of liberal Western tradition under which Hong Kong was run during colonial rule in the first 20 or so years after the handover. Now it's clearly going to be run in a very different way, with very different expectations of how people can behave and what they can say, and to a great extent what they can now think.
In the wake of criticism, China said it firmly opposed countries and institutions that slander and smear Hong Kong's new national security law.
China expresses strong dissatisfaction and firm opposition to some countries and institutions that slander and smear the legislation of national security law.
With Hong Kong's new national security law coming into effect on March 23rd, the city will now toe the line of President Xi Jinping's China, with lawmakers repudiating its Western liberal past. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.